15 times 1809 hours. All right, Jonathan, I'm going to open this up to you because you came here to make a report. So what can I do for you?
The officer that went back out to the house after I was given a free ride in your vehicle told my wife that I reported her as missing.
Okay.
That's inaccurate. I did not report her as missing.
Okay. I believe we had that conversation at the hospital.
If I had indeed made any reports, I was anonymous completely in those reports.
Okay.
So this officer declared clearly to my wife in her own testimony, which I have recorded, by the way, prior to coming here, that I reported her for driving without a driver's license. I reported her for missing. I reported the vehicle as lost or stolen. All of these were anonymous reports, which means that he is guilty of, number one, slander, and number two, exposing a witness. If it's an anonymous report, that would make him guilty and therefore punishable under Supreme law.
Okay, whose Supreme law are you talking about?
Supreme law of the United States of America and constitutional law.
Okay. So tell me, as far as your recollection of today's events, how did they transpire?
Well, first of all, I would like the officer's badge number who went out there after I went away on my free ride.
That would have been me and Deputy Tessie.
Deputy Tessie. What is his badge number?
606.
606. What is your badge number?
609.
609.
Again, if this is a complaint on me, you need to be taking it somewhere else.
This is not a complaint on you.
Okay. And to be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable really taking a complaint on another officer in my department.
I understand. Again, this is not, I'm not trying to create any unnecessary friction or anything like that here. All I'm trying to do is ascertain and create documented, substantial, gainful, lawful evidence against the officer, which is 606, you said. You're 609. You're not involved in this.
So my question to you is what are your recollection of the events up to this point?
The recollection of the events, according to my wife, which I have recorded, are...
Not according to your wife, according to you. How did this initially start today?
There was an alleged anonymous report that my wife was driving without a driver's license.
Okay, there's an alleged, so you didn't call. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is...
I'm talking to you. She's not here.
As under the Constitution, I cannot be held as a witness against myself in my own investigation. You're asking me to testify against myself here.
I'm not asking you to testify against yourself. I'm asking.
I'm making a report.
Yeah.
So in this report,
questions to you as far as
606, Officer 606. The facts are, he knew I made, in his own recollection of the information, an alleged anonymous report about Josepha driving without her driver's license today. He also knew that this individual who made the supposed alleged report wanted to be made clearly anonymous.
Did he talk to you?
Brian did.
That's me.
Brian, you were well aware of the fact that this individual that may or may not have called was completely calling as an anonymous reporter.
So my question to you is, are you saying that you did not make that call?
I'm not alleging whether or not the call was made because anonymous means I'm not culpable.
Okay, so here's my question to you then is you're aware that every phone call comes into this office is recorded.
That's good.
Okay. So therefore, you identified yourself to me when you spoke to me. Is that fair to say as well?
No, because
you didn't identify
I am
yourself.
not capital J, capital O, capital N, capital A, capital T, capital H, capital A, capital N, space, capital J, A, M, E, S, S, U, T, T, O, N. I am capital J, undercaps U, undercaps N, commonly known as John. John did not make any reports today. If you're alleging that capital Jonathan James Sutton made any reports, that's a straw man. Cannot be held up in a court of law.
I'm really confused. So are you saying there's two Jonathan Suttons?
There is the sovereign,
Okay.
John, J-O-N.
Sovereign, J-O-N.
And there's
That's
the...
capital J, small O, small n.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and does he go by James Sutton as well?
No.
He just goes by John.
Correct.
Okay. And then what's the other John or Jonathan?
Well, what you're alleging is that there is an entity identified by the foreign corporations which took over this country from England
I don't have a clue what you're talking about right now.
You don't have to, and I'm glad you're recording.
What I'm asking you is
I am
you're
not
saying
capital.
You're not the one that called. No. It's this other John that called.
Correct. So that would have been the other John, which is not an existing entity. It's only on paper.
But in reality, it's 2 and 1, correct?
One way or the other. What I'm trying to say is a report was made.
Okay.
An alleged anonymous report. This individual wanted to be completely anonymous to his wife, as you're well aware.
So here's what I'm trying to do here. I got the Sovereign John, capital J, small o, small n, and the other one is all capitals, and it's JONATHAN.
Couldn't tell you, probably.
Well, that's what you spelled to me, right?
Well, I'll spell any name. So yeah, all caps.
And that's James.
Yep.
Sutton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, SUTTON, right? And do they have the same birth date?
No.
No, they have different birth dates. Do you know those birth dates?
Couldn't tell you offhand.
Okay.
I'm just here to make a report.
Okay, so which John is here right now?
The Sovereign.
The Sovereign John.
Which does not have to identify himself, his birth date, or he doesn't have to partake in any contracts of any kind.
Okay.
He's not subject to anyone, and no one is subject to him.
And which Jonathan? It was this other Jonathan that made the report earlier.
Allegedly.
Okay.
It's completely alleged.
Okay. So.
Now, can I recall the events from the day?
Well, I want you to recall the events as you reporting them. Mm-hmm. You know, because that was you. That was
because I want to be the one to make the report.
Right. So otherwise, if it's not you that's making the report,
Sovereign John is making the report.
But here's the question. Here's my statement to you: is if it's not you that was the one that made the call, how does anybody else know that it's...
Because we can make those two one.
What do you mean?
This one and this one.
So they are the same person.
I guess, and if you want to play the game of them being the same person, yes. But that John, who is sovereign, is not holding himself accountable for any contracts or any subjects or anybody in authority over him under the government invention of Jonathan James Sutton Capitals.
Why is it a government invention of Jonathan James Sutton Capitals? Isn't that the name that you were given by your parents?
A birth certificate is a contract signed by my parents. I had no part of that. As a sovereign individual, I cannot... How do you
see it as a contract?
Everything's a contract.
Basically, it just says you were born.
Yeah. Everything that identifies Jonathan James Sutton, which I am not, is foisted upon him in violation of the Bill of Rights. So when I go to court and hold the officer accountable for making allegations that I reported my wife is missing, I'm going to need some pretty solid arguments.
So you're saying that's factual then, that
you
reported your wife is missing?
No. Jonathan James Sutton, all caps, is alleged to have made the report to my wife, which is slander.
So my question to you is, when we go back and we pull the audio statements from you talking with myself, Brian, earlier, you're going to say that it was never alleged that you were concerned about her not...
The judge is going to take a look at those recordings.
Right. And you don't think the judge is going to hear it in those recordings that you were saying that you were concerned, number one?
I'll talk to my lawyer about that.
But now you're a sovereign.
Right now. Not in court, I'm not.
So how's it different?
Because, again, the stuff that I don't know about or deal with, I talk to my lawyer about. Because I'm the one making the report.
Right.
Can I make the report?
I'm trying to get to the report is my problem here. And
that's what I'm trying to report.
The confusing part is what you're telling me.
Are you saying that you told Josefa that I reported?
No, you told her that when I was
No,
there.
I didn't.
But what I'm trying to ascertain from you is, are you saying that when you talked to me on the telephone, which was a recorded phone call...
Cancel.
What do you mean, cancel?
Because if I'm to remain anonymous, I can't answer that question. You see, I'm holding myself as anonymous, which is what I originally had said to you on the phone.
Are you saying, though, that you didn't call concerned about her driving, number one, illegally? You told me that?
Is it a crime?
You told the doctor
to
that?
Call someone if they're driving illegally?
No, I'm not saying it is.
Was that a Mason meeting for all we know?
What do you mean? You weren't at a Mason meeting.
It could have easily been.
Well, let's not make up things here.
Well, the judge will determine that.
Okay. So anyway, you called. You said you're concerned about your wife driving. She's not.
Correct.
Doesn't have a valid driver's license.
Well, no.
And that she left this morning at 9 a.m., hasn't returned home. You're concerned because she hasn't returned home and should have been home by now.
Okay, and she was driving without a valid license?
Correct.
So she committed a crime.
That's what you said.
When you were at the house, did you see that she had just passed the written test?
I saw that she had taken a test, yes.
Had you in fact confirmed that she was in Alexandria today?
No.
Was the vehicle there
It was at the house.
all day?
I don't know. I didn't drive by your house earlier.
Okay. Is there a way...
Okay, who's asking the questions here? Who's doing the report?
I am.
No, you're not. I'm doing the report.
I'm doing the report.
Then I think we're done.
606.
Because if you're telling me what you're trying to do
Okay,
here,
you're doing the report.
then you're going to answer my questions and you're going to answer them truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to play this game. Because what I'm going to do with this report is I'm going to forward it to my supervisors. And then my supervisors are going to determine whether or not that they're going to, what they're going to do with it.
Is it a crime to report people for crimes that have actually been committed?
In what way?
In any way?
I don't know.
I would say it wouldn't be.
Okay. That's your
So
interpretation.
what questions do you have? Well, my interpretation is going to win.
What I'm trying to figure out is, are you saying that in fact never happened? You never called dispatch and you never said that I'm concerned about my wife driving who doesn't have a valid license and I'm concerned that she hasn't returned. And then you called back within minutes, probably 5 minutes at the most, saying, I just called daycare, baby's still at daycare and she's still not home.
I made those reports.
Okay. So then what's the deal?
The deal is, I asked you personally that I remain anonymous.
Okay.
And it's recorded that you agreed on the phone.
Okay.
I've recorded all these conversations.
Maybe.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Now, you're not in any trouble here.
I'm not worried if I was in trouble.
You shouldn't be. The officer, 606, I never made a report of my wife missing.
You made a report of being concerned that she was gone.
No, that she was driving without a driver's license. That's the report.
And that you were concerned she hadn't returned.
The crime was driving without a driver's license.
Okay.
Was it
if you
missing?
want to split hairs.
And we're going to.
Okay.
Did I tell you, Brian?
Again, I'm not going to answer your questions. This is an investigation that you're reporting to me.
Okay. I did not report that she was missing. Officer 606 and potentially the other officer, I have no idea who that is, that was there.
That would have been me.
Okay. Told my wife that I reported her as missing. That's the report I'm making. That is slander. And I'm not going to hold you personally accountable for it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not slander because that was, in fact, what you had told me on the telephone is that she wasn't driving, or that she was driving without a valid license and that she hadn't returned.
I told you she was driving without a valid license and hadn't returned. I didn't tell you she was missing because I knew she left.
And hadn't returned is missing.
No.
Especially when you're saying she left at 9.
Did I tell you the exact words, my wife is missing? Did I tell you those exact words?
I would have to listen to the audio back.
Oh, good. Okay. So that's the report.
Okay. So,
that's the only crime committed by the police department.
Okay. And I guess I don't even see that
again,
as a crime.
lawyers will get involved and judges will get involved. It's none of your concern because I'm not going to deal with you personally.
So, when you leave here today, which Jonathan is leaving here? Or John, the Sovereign John or the one that called initially?
What difference does it make?
I'm just concerned.
I'm leaving.
Are you sir? So I'm leaving. Which one's I'm? The both of them?
Sovereign.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is I'm concerned, obviously, for your welfare. Obviously, I took you to the hospital once today.
Can't confirm or deny because that's not the report.
What do you mean that's not the report?
The report is the slander for telling my wife.
Okay, but now we're going into my investigation. My investigation is obviously concerning
But I'm
your
not here
mental
for an
health.
investigation.
Yes, you are. You came here to make a report.
Correct.
That's my job to investigate it then. Otherwise, you wouldn't come to me to report it. So my investigation is leading me to, I now have somebody that's telling me that there's two people in existence in the same person. One that is concerned about his wife.
The one who's identified as Jonathan James Sutton.
All caps.
Correct.
Correct. That's concerned about his wife driving without a driver's license and was concerned about her at that time, basically
Not concerned anymore.
a caring husband.
Correct.
And then I got the one that's here now, the Sovereign John, that's pissed off, in lack of better terms.
No, I'm not pissed.
Okay, what's a better term then? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
The-
Irritated?
No.
Conflicted?
Conflicted? No. Very certain.
Because your persona right now, your body language,
I'm just
is pissed
tired.
off.
No, I'm tired.
You're kind of giving me the stare downs. You're giving me the.
I like to maintain eye contact.
Okay. So where I have to take this investigation is I'm concerned as far as your safety, and I'm concerned as far as Josepha's and the baby's safety. Do I need to be worried? And what assurances do I have on that?
That I'm doing everything that I need to do. I'm lawful. I'm lawfully abiding as a citizen, and everything has been confirmed to you today that everything's well with us.
Okay. Because I know the doctor even made it well known to you that
and the doctor
the behavior
himself
that you experienced
was unusual.
Was unusual.
And he even admitted that everybody's unusual.
Everybody's unusual. However, it's unusual to call law enforcement as many times as you did.
That's what you're alleging.
Concerned about your wife.
That's what you're alleging.
Almost to the point of some paranoia, according to the doctor. Is that fair?
No.
You don't think he didn't say paranoia?
No, I don't agree with his assessment that I'm paranoid.
I don't think he said you're paranoid. I think he said that you showed signs of some paranoia.
No, I'm not showing signs of paranoia.
Okay. So you weren't overly concerned about something that was
No.
happening?
No.
As far as your wife driving illegally?
Not at all.
Okay. Almost to the point of, you felt, and this is my interpretation, you felt, what's the best way to put it? Betrayed? Not necessarily betrayed.
No, my wife feels betrayed because I made a promise to her that I would not report her for anything.
But you told her that in front of me. You're the one that told her that I called law enforcement because you were...
No, I didn't tell her that.
You don't recall saying that at all?
Not at all. And she doesn't recall it either.
Okay.
Obviously, my wife was kind of stressed out when I got home.
Well, I think she was stressed out because law enforcement was standing in her...
No, because cops told her that I reported her for missing.
She didn't seem stressed at all when we were talking to her.
She was very stressed when she talked to me, and she said, look, you promised to never report me. Why are the cops telling me that you're reporting me?
Okay.
She's calmed down now because she knows that I'm doing my own work on this to ascertain the truth.
I guess it depends on your version of the truth then, because from what I remember...
I gave you no permission.
When myself and Deputy Tessing were standing there.
Gave neither of you permission.
And Josepha was standing there with the blank stare on her face like, why is law enforcement in the house? You said, because I called law enforcement to tell me that you didn't have a driver's license.
And you would agree that that is your interpretation of the events?
Well, that's what I remember happening, yes.
And would you agree that your interpretation isn't always correct?
My interpretation is
our judgments, we're human, we err.
So, again, I'm not going to answer your questions. These are my questions because this is my investigation.
Okay.
Okay. So, again, I go back to, are we safe?
Yes.
And what assurances do I have to that?
My own word.
Okay. So when you go out of here today, are we going to receive more phone calls?
Is it illegal to make phone calls?
I don't know. Depends on if they're vagrant or if they're purposeful.
What is vagrant?
What is vagrant?
Mm-hmm.
Non-factual.
Okay, what is purposeful?
Purposeful? That they serve a purpose.
Okay, every conversation today that has been recorded is purposeful.
Okay.
And it is not what you call, is it vagrant?
Okay.
That is why I can assure you that everybody is safe.
However, I can say that it is not usually...
You seem to be under a lot of stress today.
The reason I'm under stress is because I can't quite figure you out, Jonathan. Because I'm concerned about your mental health. I'm concerned about Josepha's safety. I'm concerned about your baby's safety.
Have you seen any evidence, though,
yes,
in the presence of my wife and child?
Yes.
What evidence?
And I'm not going to get into that with you, but I can tell you just based on your demeanor, the multiple personalities that you're exhibiting right now.
There's no multiple personalities.
The paranoia that you had earlier.
This sovereignty
yeah,
is purposeful. That means it's legitimate. These are the same person. So that's not multiple personalities.
That is multiple personalities when you identify yourself as two different.
Well, have you seen it done in court when people represent themselves as a sovereign?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Are you aware of sovereignty?
I know what sovereignty is, yes.
Okay. So you would agree that I am a sovereign citizen?
I wouldn't know that.
If I declare myself as a sovereign citizen, am I a sovereign citizen?
I don't know.
Do you believe in sovereignty?
I don't know.
You told me you know what sovereignty is.
I know what sovereignty is.
So then you know that these are the same person?
Not necessarily.
Technically?
Not necessarily.
Technically?
Because you're identifying yourself as two people.
No.
So again, you're going back to, you're getting off topic here because you're explaining
the person
to me,
on my permit, let's see, where's my driver's permit? That's probably on the dashboard.
because you can't define yourself as sovereign but yet then conform to the state's laws.
Yeah, I can. Because that's up to me when I want to conform or not.
Again, so then that's a...
This individual
personality.
here, Jonathan James Sutton,
Yep.
is John, the same person.
Right.
So we're not in disagreement.
That's the different personalities.
No, they're the same person that's sitting before you right now.
That's what you're telling me, right?
Correct. Commonly, I'm known as John, but in the record, I'm known as Jonathan James Sutton. Does that make sense? There ought not to be any confusion now.
So you were wondering as far as what my concerns were, and I'm putting them out there on the table.
And quite
Number
frankly,
one,
your concerns...
Number one is the multiple personalities.
There are
Number
no
two,
multiple personalities.
The paranoia that you exhibited earlier, the confusion as far as what you actually reported and remember.
You seem to be exhibiting some paranoia right now. Are you paranoid?
You didn't remember calling to report your car stolen, but yet...
No, officially I didn't remember calling.
That's what you told us. When I was talking with you at the doctor, you said...
Okay, but did you record all those conversations?
You said that it was...
Did you record those conversations?
I must have just face dialed the sheriff's department at the end and said my car was stolen.
That's what you're claiming. Did you
You
record?
don't remember that then.
Okay, but were those conversations, were they recorded?
Okay. So is there anything else you want to add to this, John?
Certainly.
Because then I think it's time for me to sit down with Josepha if she wants to talk to me and report it. If not, I'm not seeing that this is going to go anywhere because obviously it's her recollection that's going to make the difference here. So
Sure.
So I think that's where we're at right now is I'm going to sit down with her and we'll go from there.
Okay. I have no concerns for my safety or the safety of anyone else, and I am only one person.
Time now is 18:32 hours. March
18:32.